Anyway, this is Andrew Tate on Piers Morgan. Let's get it.
Andrew Tate's the most famous man you've probably never heard of, but the chances are your children will have. Videos of Tate have been viewed billions of times online. He's built an enormous following of mostly young men, and his often scandalous views about women that have made him notorious across the world. Views like this.
So I think my sister is her husband's property, yes. When a bride is walking down the aisle to marry the groom, the father walks next to her and gives her away. True or false?
Tate.
Of course, they put one of the most wildest things he said. It's a little bit, of course, they're going to use something controversial and nothing of actually value. Way out of context, too.
Opinions on mental illness are equally controversial.
I don't believe in depression. Don't message me about depression because I don't believe in it. If you're asleep in your bed in the middle of the night and you hear a noise and you believe in ghosts, now you're afraid. But if you don't believe in ghosts, it's the wind and you go back to sleep. You give the ghosts power by believing in them.
So really what he was trying to say there, it's like he says, I don't believe in depression because he's talked about this before. Again, way out of context. What he's trying to say is that simply, if you give something power by believing in it, you're going to be depressed. Like if you're just sitting there all fucking depressed and you're like, oh, I'm so depressed. You're just going to be more fucking depressed. But if you're just like, yeah, I don't fucking believe in depression. Depression isn't real. Depression's a myth. Depression's false. Why give it power? It's like saying, oh, I believe in demons. And then you're basically conjuring that shit up. So yeah, no, that's bullshit for sure. Depression ain't real, guys.
Well, this summer, every major social media platform banned Tate amid a global backlash and concerns about his influence on the young people who watch him. But copies of his videos are still shared millions of times every day. This show is called Uncensored. One of the challenges views directly, so he flew from Romania to sit here in this studio, and the full explosive interview airs later this week. Here's a bit of what's to come. Do you respect women?
Absolutely. Why wouldn't I?
Do you think that 18, 19-year-old women are more attractive than 25-year-old women?
I think there's attractive people. That's a loaded question. I don't know.
It is loaded.
Is it?
I can't
You know why I'm asking.
It is loaded.
But I can't sit here and
for
say.
the benefit of viewers who don't know why I'm asking, you said this. In general, this is also one of the reasons men find youth attractive. You want to blow up the internet? I'll blow up the internet right effing now. The reason 18 and 19-year-olds are more attractive than 25-year-olds is because they've been through less dick. People say, oh, you can't say that, but yes, I can. A 19-year-old is more attractive than a 26-year-old woman, and I'll tell you why. Because that 26-year-old has talked to more guys, been to the club more times, been effed and dumped more times, more arguments, more mess, more for me to clean up. That is misogyny.
Tell me, all right, tell me in the comments. Is that true? Is that not true? Are you going to be more attracted to a girl who's gone through no dick? Or a lot of dick. Let's be honest here. Like when you sit and think, you're like, do you want a girl who's had one body to no bodies or 40 bodies? Just let that sit for a moment. Because girls who are 25, you can ask them. They have like 50 bodies. And I'm not even joking. I've talked to lots of girls and they're not even hoes per se. I'm sorry, they're not, they're queens. 50 bodies. And that's 23, 24. I'm not even fucking kidding. So, yeah, I'm going to find an 18-year-old more attractive than a 25-year-old. Personally, I don't date 18-year-olds, but, 19, 20-year-old more attractive than a 25-year-old for sure. And it's crazy. Like, he's trying to use that to make it seem like he's into young girls. Like, he's trying to make that to make him look bad. Instantly hits him with that. Like, doesn't want to ask him a question. Bounce. Nah. Goes straight for the fucking punch. Goes straight for his throat. And watch. I'm just predicting. Like I said earlier, I know for a fact he's not going to let him, like, explain himself. Knowing Piers Morgan, I know he's just going to go straight to like, blocking out his answers. I just fucking know it.
Why? Because you are encouraging a mindset about 25-year-old women that makes them sound out to be infinitely less desirable than 18, 19-year-olds. and having effectively been having too much sex to be taken in a more respectful way.
Well, firstly, even if that was the case, that wouldn't be misogyny.
But what did you mean by what you said?
That's not misogyny because it's not anti-women. I'm saying that an 18 or 19-year-old woman would be more desirable.
Pretty anti-25-year-old woman.
Anti-25-year-old women we can argue, but not misogyny.
Well, that's misogyny then, isn't it?
No, it's not.
Well, being anti any woman at all is misogyny.
Not when I'm saying that women are beautiful and attractive at a certain age and saying the age.
You're saying 18, 19-year-olds are more attractive than 25.
Well, than ageist perhaps, but misogynistic absolutely
Is that
not.
but you just accepted it was misogyny.
No, I didn't. You said it was misogyny. I'm telling you, no, it's not.
If a 26-year-old woman is watching this and has heard those comments,
Yeah.
would you just say to her, look, I'm sorry, I shouldn't have said that?
No, I won't. I will say that I am sorry that offends you. However, there's a large contingent of the world.
That doesn't mean you're sorry.
No, I'm not sorry. That's the point I'm making. I'm sorry if that offends
Why
you.
would he
However,
be?
there's a large contingent of the world that believe that, and I was mediating for a conversation.
Parts of the world that believe that about 26-year-old women are parts of the world where women are not allowed out on their own.
That's a conversation.
They have to wear full burqas.
Well, that's a conversation.
They're not
to
allowed
have.
to drive cars.
That's crazy because it went from him. This is insane. This is insane. It went from him talking about liking younger girls over older girls, and now it's going straight to, oh, girls have to wear burqas. Yeah, like it. Do you see how he's trying to tie that to him? Loaded question for sure. Do you see how he's trying to tie him with all this bad stuff going on in the world? Like if he's to blame. Because like him not liking listen to how insane this is. Him not liking 25-year-olds is the leading cause of women having to wear burqas in certain countries. And that's not, it's so way out of his control. Like, how is his age preference even fucking remotely considerably close to that? That's fucking insane. Piers Morgan,
It's nothing to do with me.
But is that the kind of world for women that you
I was mediating
applaud?
a conversation.
No, I'm asking you what you think.
I don't live in a country where that happens.
You're using that as the excuse for why you're not sorry for saying it.
It's not an excuse.
Is that there are parts of the world where this is fine?
My friend.
So my question to you is, well, do you think it's fine?
I don't think it's fine. I live in a world where
You don't think it's fine?
the reason
This
I
isn't that hard, Andrew. You can simply say, Piers, you know what? With the benefit of hindsight, I wish I hadn't said it like that. And if a 26-year-old woman's watching, I'm sorry I said that, because that actually is blatantly misogynist. And even though that's a view held by other parts of the world, it's not a view I share.
He's trying to get him to admit that he's misogynist. Are you guys hearing this? Like, do you guys not understand what they're trying to do to him? It's so blatantly open. Like, only people who are absolutely brain dead fall for this shit. Like, who listens to this and like, yeah, he's a misogynist. That makes so much sense.
Now, I would respect you more if you said that than if you try and say, well, it's said in other parts of the world, so I'm not sorry.
I think
That doesn't tell me what you think.
Then you need to understand why my content existed in the first place. My content existed because I tried my very hardest to be an absolute and utter realist, especially with uncomfortable truths. I was pointing out that very uncomfortable.
Is that a truth? Then?
It's an uncomfortable truth in many parts of the world. It's not a truth that I'm happy about.
An inquest this week found that a 14-year-old girl, Molly Russell, died from an act of self-harm while suffering from depression and the negative effects of online content. The coroner said she was exposed to material that may have influenced her in a negative way, and in addition, what started as depression had become a much more serious depressive illness, and she very sadly took her life.
That's absolutely disgusting.
Right. Her father,
That's terrible.
Her father's campaign for better protections against potentially dangerous social media algorithms, right? It says that the particularly graphic content she saw romanticized acts of self-harm, normalized her condition, and focused on a limited and irrational view without any counterbalance of normality. First of all, what is your response to that? Nothing to do with you. That's
the first thing. Yeah, it is nothing to do with me. The fact that a 14-year-old girl took her life is truly sad. The world we live in today is... The fact that something like that happened is almost mind-blowing to me. That's truly sad. I actually feel sad inside to see something like that.
What has come clear to me in the interview is that a lot of things you say you wouldn't say now that you've said before.
I'd say them differently, perhaps.
Yeah, right. So... to me, that's an acceptance, not just that you want to get back on platforms, because maybe that was one of the reasons you were no platform, but that you've recognised and understood the potential harm to the wrong kind of impressionable mind by some of the things you've said. Would that be fair?
I think that's 80% fair. I recognise and understand that with massive fame, you have to be more careful about being misconstrued. Like I said earlier, 1% of people misunderstanding you doesn't matter with a small audience. It matters with a very large audience. With power comes responsibility. I still believe the things I say. I do not want to be a negative force for the world. I also understand that I am a man who's lived a very difficult, nuanced life, and I am capable of making nuanced points that may be misunderstood by teenagers. However, that can be said about anybody and everything. Every opinion online can be misunderstood by children. Trying to protect children from the internet is a very interesting subject in and of itself, because I would argue that 80% of the content on the internet can be negative or detrimental to a young mind that doesn't understand the world.
I could tell, I have to say this, the preview's over, but I could tell that in the interview, right after this, he's going to hit him with his video where he was talking about depression isn't real. And you see, it's interesting, right? It's because he'll take something that doesn't have anything to do with him, and it's absolutely terrible. What that happened to that girl is absolutely terrible, but he's going to be like, oh, but you said depression isn't real. And he's going to make him try to apologize for it. He's going to make him try to apologize for this reason. It's like, fuck, man. It's crazy. It's crazy. It's like I can literally see what they're trying to do. Look at this fucking guy. I can literally see what they're trying to do, man. Like, he's going to use that clip of him talking about depression isn't real. He's going to bring that up and he's going to make him try to apologize for it. He's going to make him try to admit to something like the fault of... He's going to try to put blame on him for the fault of this young girl's suicide, which is absolutely horrible. It's a horrible thing, but it's like, you don't do that. You don't say, oh, you shouldn't be depressed. Like, it's like me saying, you shouldn't be depressed. You shouldn't. You absolutely shouldn't be depressed. Life is absolutely beautiful. And then someone tells me, oh, what about all the people that kill themselves? Trying to blame me for them offing themselves. And it's terrible. It's in both regards, right? Like, suicide is very real. It's very prevalent. And I know very much, I've been through depressive states in my life, and I understand, like, firsthand. Like, I've seen attempts, and I've seen that shit firsthand, right? But I'm still gonna say you shouldn't be depressed, and there's no reason you should be suicidal. And then it's like someone coming to me and saying it's your fault they killed themselves. I can see the future, and he's going to try to turn blame on him. People are going to clip it. It's just, they're going to try to make him look bad. I don't think he's going to let him. I think he's too smart for that. I think the way Andrew Tate chooses his words is absolutely better than I'll admit it, like, better than most people. So, I'm looking forward to seeing this interview for sure. And let me know what I should watch next. I'm always looking for more content to review and shit. Yeah, looking forward to this YouTube shit in general, man. Looking forward to this YouTube shit in general. My camera's kind of shitty right now, but I promise I will get a better camera. Make sure you hit that sub button, that notification bell. Leave a comment down below. Let me know what I should react to next. And follow my TikTok at Tony Menace. Let's get this shit.
If somebody hurts you, I wanna fight, but my head's been broken one too many times.